You have probably been searching for the information everywhere about how to start a boutique business. I'm going to just tell you how to do it on this video, so stay tuned. If you're new here to my channel, hi, I'm Emily Benson. I'm a boutique consultant and mindset coach. I help boutique owners start, grow, and scale their businesses. I'm one of those retail industry experts you may or may not have heard of because of my podcast and my books. If you really want to start a boutique, start with this book, Ultimate Boutique Handbook. This is the book that started it all for me in boutique consulting, and it has a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Most people think, all right, I'm just going to buy some clothes, or I'm going to buy some kids' clothes or shoes or whatever category you've decided that you want to sell. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to buy a bunch of stuff and then I'm going to sell it. I'm going to post it on my Facebook, I'm going to post it on Instagram, and it's going to go gangbusters. I'm really sorry to be the one to break this to you, but it's so much more complicated than that. That's why I have this whole channel, because it's really not just about buying things and reselling them. There's strategy. Let's break it down. First of all, buying things. Buying things is a massive piece of your business. So to start a boutique business, you're absolutely going to want to get your reseller's license or your tax ID information. Again, it's all literally in this book about exactly what to get. I'll put the link below here, but it's the Ultimate Boutique Handbook on Amazon. So you want to get all that legal stuff worked out. I have another video about like everything we would call like the legalities of opening a boutique business. The real deal is you do need to have all that legal stuff worked out. You're not going to be able to buy wholesale items online or at a trade show if you don't have any of your documents and your paperwork done. They won't let you in. They won't let you see prices. Get all that paperwork worked out. In terms of also buying product, there's two different things I like to talk about. One is your ideal customer. First of all, your ideal customer cannot just be like everyone. It also shouldn't be so narrow that it's like a very specific 32-year-old men who like soccer. It's actually a pretty big niche, but you could actually make 32 probably bigger, right? You could say 25 to 35-year-old men who love soccer, I'm going to sell them t-shirts. What I hear a lot from the women's boutique world is, I'm going to sell to busy moms. There are people who could be moms but are choosing not to or can't at this moment. They might still be the same age. They might have a lot of the same activities, and they might be pretty busy too. By saying moms, you're cutting them out. If you want to do mom specifically because you're selling mom gear, that's a whole different story. When we're talking about women, we have to remember that we are multifaceted beings. For a lot of us, we are going to shop similar. It's all depending on what our lifestyle is, where we live in the world. Does that style translate? I grew up in the Northeast. I live outside Boston. The style here is very different than somewhere like LA or even New York City or even Miami. It's going to be different. And there's going to be some crossover. You're going to find some New Englanders who dress like they're from Miami and vice versa. If you are going to stay in somewhat of a regional market, you want to think, what are the women around me wearing? What are the men around me wearing? That is going to be the first step. Then you're going to want to think about, what do I like? What do I wear? Go in your closet, look and see what are the things I own the most of? What are the colors? What are the prints I own the most of? And maybe you're sitting here, you're saying, well, I'm not that fashionable. I hate to break it to you, but you have to have some kind of good style to start a boutique business. I would say that you will be successful if people often comment on how you look. Like they're like, oh, I love your outfit. Where'd you get that? If you're that type of person, then you're probably in a good spot. Or if you are in a place where you found garments that you love and other people are asking you, where did you find that? And it's some kind of specialized garment, then you're in a good situation. But you want to think about that ideal customer. And honestly, the customer is most likely you and your friends. Now, that doesn't mean that you and your friends or your family family are going to be your first customers, because most likely they aren't. So let's talk about selling. We've talked about buying products. Let's talk about selling. Oh, before I move on, let me make sure that you know I have a free download that talks all about where to buy inventory. So perfect for you if you're watching this. All you have to do is go to this link, boutiquetrainingacademy.com/inventory. We're going to put the links everywhere in the show notes and everything. It's really important for you to understand that there are a ton of options and a ton of places to buy inventory. I'm giving you my favorite places. I'm also giving you a list of my favorite vendors, all for free inside this download. Just type in your email. We'll send it right to your email. Let's move on to selling. Let's get it out of the way that most likely your friends, your family, your closest acquaintances are probably not going to be your customers. You might say, well, my people are so supportive. Great. That's awesome. You can't count on them forever. They might get you started, but they're not what is going to sustain you over time. That's not where we're going. You've got to think about, how am I going to sell these clothes? Now, one, location-wise, are you going to be just online? Will you do pop-ups like in a tent at markets and fairs and things like that? Do you want to have a brick and mortar store? Or maybe you want a mobile boutique like I did. I'm going to keep hyping up my book because I do talk about all the different ways to run your business in this book, and it's all just in a book, so it makes it really easy. I also have various videos on my channel about specifics around e-commerce business, mobile boutique business, and a brick and mortar business. But you're going to want to decide how you're actually going to sell. Most of you watching are going to say, I want to be online. I know it's easy. I know it's not expensive. So you're going to get to the point where you say, okay, what platform do I use? How am I going to go about selling? What's my favorite marketing technique? Do I love writing? Do I love photographing? Do I love video? What I'm going to tell you is marketing is not just social media. It's also your branding, your messaging. You need a great name. Naming your boutique and giving it a brand image is actually, I think, one of the most crucial steps of all of this. So many people miss that mark. They think I can just buy things and sell them. They don't think, what's my brand? What is my tagline? Who are my ideal customers? This is why I'm making this video, because I want you to think about it. So social media is a big part of it, don't get me wrong, but the mode of how you sell on social media is going to be what's most important. As you know, video is sort of the king and queen of the internet right now. So if you're not comfortable on video, I would encourage you to get comfortable on video. That doesn't mean that you have to be like me and talking and doing all this stuff and showing garments. You could still do video with movement, and the movement of video put over sounds or a voiceover or music, but video is always going to be ranked highest. As I'm making this video right now, that's just the way it is. In terms of photography and video, I always recommend that you do it yourself. That might scare you so much. You're like, I want to hire models. I want to hire a photographer. What I'm going to tell you is that if you have a nice phone and you have a clean backdrop, you can totally be your own photographer. You might need a stand. Like I'm using a ring light right now that has a stand for my camera on it. You can 100% use yourself, your phone, and a clean backdrop, whether that's inside or outside, to take pictures for your boutique business. It really doesn't have to be this whole professional setup. I actually think when you're first starting out, to keep overhead low, that's the best way to do it. The next step in terms of selling, and we've talked about a lot today, but the next step in terms of selling is also starting your email list. Getting that e-commerce store really optimized. Now, if you want help with all of this, refining your product assortment, understanding who your ideal customer is, what is your launch plan, all of this, that's a great first step for you. If you are sitting there and you're saying, I don't want to spend a lot, this is so much to research, you have two options. One, you have my book, right? Available on Amazon, on Kindle, or you can go ahead and spend $27, less than $30 to get my How to Grow Your Boutique micro course. It's going to go through all of this, how to really understand who your person is, what you're going to sell to them, and how you're going to sell it. How to start a boutique business, we can get into really, really detail, but big picture concept here is most important. It's understanding that there's about 3 or 4 categories we really need to understand in terms of how to start it. And those concepts are what's going to make you successful. Anyone can start an online boutique right now, anyone. When we focus in on these concepts, that is when we start to grow. That is when we can scale. And I hope to be here along your journey to do that. If you want to know about what I feel like are the biggest mistakes that boutique owners make, go ahead and click on the video above. That's going to walk you through what I think are some of the biggest mistakes before you get into all this. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.